Morning students, today we can see the management of nursing service in education part 2 questions and answers. The, the questions answered here are the 6 questions are first job description and job analysis, performance appraisal, leadership styles, qualities of a leader, methods to improve leadership style used by the head nurse. So we'll start with the first one, just job description and job analysis. Job description is an organized factual statement of job content in the form of duties and responsibilities on a specific job. The preparation of job description is very important before vacancies are advertised. It tells brief the nature and type of job. This type of document is descriptive in nature and it constitutes all those facts which are related to job such as title, designation of job and location of concern, nature of duties and operations to be performed in that job, nature of authority, responsibility relationship, necessary qualification that are required for a job, relationship of that job to other jobs in concern, the provision of physical and working condition or a work environment required in performance of that job. Advantage of job description. It helps to supervisors in assigning work to subordinates so that he can guide to monitor the performance. It helps in recruitment and selection of procedures. It assists in manpower planning. It is also helpful in performance appraisal. It helpful in job evaluation in order to decide about the rate of remuneration for a specific job. It also helps in chalking out training and development program. Job specification is a statement which tells us minimum acceptable human qualities which helps to perform a job. Job specification translates a job description into human qualifications so that a job can be performed in better manner. Job specification helps in hiring an appropriate person for an appropriate position. The contents are job title and designation, education and qualification for the title, physical and other related attributes, physical and mental health, special attributes and abilities, maturity and dependability, relationship of that job with other jobs in concern. Advantage of job specification include it is helpful in preliminary screening in the selection procedure. It helps in giving due justification to each job. It also helps in designing, training, and developing programs. It helps the supervisors for counseling and monitoring performance of the employees. It helps in job evaluation. It helps in management to take decisions regarding promotion, transfers, and giving extra benefit to the employees. The ninth question is performance appraisal. Performance appraisal or performance evaluation is a systematic and periodic process that assesses an individual employee's job performance and productivity in relation to certain pre-established criteria and organizational objectives. Other aspects of individual employees are considered as well, such as organization citizenship behavior, accomplishment, potential for future improvement, strengths and weakness, etc. To collect a performance appraisal data, there are three main methods: objective production, personal, and judgmental evaluation. Judgmental evaluation is the most commonly used with a large variety of evaluation methods. Performance appraisal is typically conducted annually. The interview could function as a providing feedback to the employees, counseling and developing employees, and conveying and discussing compensation, job status, or disciplinary decision. Performance appraisal is often included in the performance management system. Performance management systems are employed to manage and align all of the organization resources in order to achieve highest possible performance. How performance is managed in an organization determines to large extent the success or failure of the organization. Therefore, improving performance appraisal for everyone should be among the highest priorities of contemporary organization. Objective of performance appraisal include to review performance of employees over a given period of time, to judge the gap between actual and desired performance, to help management in exercise organization control, helps to strengthen the relationship and communication between supervisors, subordinates, and management and employees, to diagnose the strength and weakness of the individual so as to identify the training and development needs of the future, to provide feedback to the employees regarding the past performance, provide information to assist in other personal decisions in an organization, provide clarity of expectations and responsibility of the functions to be performed by the employee, to judge the effectiveness of other human resource functions of organizations such as recruitment, selection, training, and development, to reduce the grievance of the employees. Following tools are used by organizations for a performance appraisal: ranking, paired comparison, force distribution, confidential report, essay evaluation, critical incident, checklist, graphing rating scale, bars that is behaviorally anchored rating scales, force choice method, MBO management by objective, field review techniques, performance test. And next question is leadership styles. Three major types of leadership are there: that authoritarian or autocratic, participative or democratic, delegative or free regain. Although good leaders use all three styles with one of them normally dominant, bad leaders tend to stick with one style. First one is authoritarian or autocratic. This style used when leaders tell their employee what they want to be done and how they want it accomplished without getting the advice of the followers. Some of the appropriate conditions to use it is when you have all information to solve the problem, you are short on time, and your employees are well motivated. Some persons think that this style as a vehicle for yelling, using demeaning language, and leading by threats and abusing their power. This is not the authoritarian style, rather, it is an abusive, unprofessional style called bossing people around. Second is participatory or democratic. This style involves the leader including one or more employees in the decision making process, determining what to do and how to do it. However, the leader maintains the final decision making authority. Using this style is not a sign of weakness, rather, it is a sign of strength that your employees will respect. This is normally used when we have a part of information and our employees have other parts. Not that leader is not expected to know everything. That is why employed as knowledgeable and skillful employee. Using this style of a mutual benefit, it allows them to become a part of the team and allows to make them better decision. Delegative or free regain. In this style, the leader allows the employees to take the decision. However, the leader is still responsible for the decision that are made. This is used when the employees are able to analyze the situation, determine what needs to be done and how to do it. Leader cannot do everything. Leader must set priorities and delegate certain tasks. This is also known as laissez-faire, which is the non-interference in the affairs of the others. Positive and negative approach. There's a different way of leaders approach their employees. Positive leaders are use rewards, just education, independence, etc. to motivate the employees, while negative employees emphasize penalties. While negative approach has a place in a leader's repertoire of tools, it must be used carefully due to its high cost on human spirit. Negative leaders are act as a domineering and superior with people. They believe that only way to get things done is through penalties, thus loss of job, days off without pay, reprimanding employees in the front of others, etc. They believe that authority is increased by frightening everyone into higher levels of productivity. Yet, what always happens when this approach is used wrongly, the morale fails, and of course, the leader to lower the productivity. Two other approaches that leaders use are consideration, that is employee orientation. Leaders are concerned with about human needs of the employee. They build teamwork, help employees with their problems, and provide psychological support. Second is structure, that is task orientation. Leaders believe that they get results by consistently keeping people busy and urging them to produce. There is evidence that leaders who are considerative in their leadership style are higher performers and more satisfied with their job. Next question is qualities of a leader. Leadership qualities that are required to make a good leader can vary in different companies, teams, and situations. They are context dependent. Whether in fact a person is born a leader or develops skills and abilities to become leader is open for debate. There are some clear characteristics that are found in good leaders. These qualities can be developed or may be naturally part of their personality. Let us explore them further. The seven personal qualities found in a good leader. First one, a good leader have an exemplary character. It is utmost importance that leader is trustworthy to lead others. A leader needs to be trusted and to be known to live their life with honesty and integrity. A good leader walks and talk and doing so earns the right to have responsibility for others. True authority is born from respect for good character and trustworthiness of a person who leads. Second, a good leader is enthusiastic about their work or cause and also about their role as a leader. People will respond more openly to a person of passion and dedication. Leaders need to be able to be a source of inspiration and be motivated towards the required action or cause. Although the responsibilities and roles of a leader may differ, the leader needs to be seen to be a part of team working towards the goal. This kind of leader will not be afraid to roll up their sleeves and get dirty. Third, a good leader is confident. In order to lead and set directions, a leader needs to be appear confident as a person and in leadership role. Such person inspires the confidence in others and draws out the trust and best efforts to them to complete the task well. A leader who conveys confidence towards the proposed objective inspires the best effort from the team members. A leader also needs to function orderly and purposeful manner in situations of uncertainty. People look into the leader during the times of uncertainty and unfamiliarity and find reassurance and security. The leader portrays confidence and positive demeanor. Fifth, a good leader are tolerant of ambiguity and remain calm, composed, and steadfast to the main purpose. Storms, emotions, and crises come and go, and good leader takes this as a part of journey and keeps a cool head. Sixth, a good leader, as well as keeping the main goal in focus, is able to think analytically. Not only does a good leader view situation as a whole, but is able to break it down into subparts for closer inspection. Not only is the goal is in view, but a good leader can break it down to manageable steps and make progress towards it. 7. A good leader is committed to excellence. Second burst does not lead to success. The good leader is not only maintains high standards but also proactive in raising the bar in order to achieve the excellence in all areas. The 12th question is methods to improve leadership styles. If someone desires to lead passion-filled life wherein they positive influence to everyone, they will enjoy incorporating the following practice to assist them in consistently living their life conscious and a strong leader. First one, have a clear vision of themselves, others, and the world. Second, know and utilize the strength and gift. If you have a unique gift that you were born with and personal strength you have developed over your lifetime, realizing and utilizing this gift and strengths will assist you in being an unformidable leader. Live in accordance with our morals and values. Making choice and taking actions out of accordance with our morals and values leaves us with a nagging bad feeling. The feeling seeping in from our subconscious mind hinders your success in our career and our relationship. On the other hand, making choice and taking actions aligned with our morals and values keeps you succeed almost effortlessly. People sense integrity and will naturally respect your opinion and leadership. Lead others with inclusiveness and compassion. The greatest leaders are those who include everyone in their sphere of influence by recognizing each person's greatest value. To be one of these leaders, look beyond the obvious and see others with the insight and compassion. Many of history's greatest leaders have admitted that they rose to the top because another leader recognized and harnessed their potential. 5. Set definitive goals and follow concrete action plans. Leaders have to know where their destination is before he can map out of a plan to get there. To improve leadership skills, the first set specific life goals with appropriate timeless. Design goals by moving backward from the end of your life to the present week. Then formulate your action plan. Leader can commit to that what get you to the where you want to be. Maintain a positive attitude. No one respect to a grumpy or negative person. With positive attitude, you are looking at the bright side of the life. People are naturally attracted to you when you have a positive attitude. By being positive, you will lead a happier life as well as surrounded by the people positive. You will also have magically attract exciting offers and possibilities. Improve communication skill. Having a great leadership skills includes being able to clearly, specifically communicate with your vision, goals, skills, intention, and expectation to others. This also includes your ability to listen to what other people are consciously or unconsciously communicating. To become a great communicator, continually strive to improve your verbal, non-verbal, and listening skills. 8. Motivate others to greatness. A leader is a powerful assistee. As a leader, you will know what to want surround yourself with a powerful team by assisting others in recognizing and utilizing the strength, gift, and potential. Motivating others to Their own greatness will improve the group energy, increase the vitality of your project, and move you forward toward achieving your goals and visions. Be willing to admit and learn from failures and weakness. Face it, no one perfect, everyone has made a mistake or two in their lives. The most successful leader know what the key to success is not avoiding failing, but to learn from their mistake. 10th, continue to educate and improve yourself. Great leaders continue to improve themselves in every possible way. The person who thinks he's an expert has lot more to learn. Never stop learning. Be receptive to everyone's perceptions and informations from around the world and beyond. Grow, learn. 13. The question is leadership style used by a head nurse. Broadly speaking, there are two types of fundamental leadership style, that is democratic and autocratic. A nurse leader who is democratically inclined would engage his nurses in decision making and let them carry out work in an independent manner, whereas a directive autocrat would provide instructions without looking for inputs and superintend his nurse in a closed manner. This can also be thought of as a direct leadership and positive leadership. A direct leadership, a nurse leader would direct all nurses under his command as to what to do and see to it that it gets completed accordingly. In a positive leadership, the nurse leader tries to ensure that the whole unit work as a team to go get the task done. In positive leadership, incentives and positively are usually used as tools. No matter which of leadership styles you follow, leadership entails the adoption of certain strategic techniques that will make you efficient leader. Just as in case with any other profession, there is certain core competencies to form the foundation of nursing leadership. As a senior nurse, you will be expected to fulfill important qualities of a good leader that include motivation, problem solving, development of new strategies, planning, delegating, conflict resolution, empathy with the group, encouraging growth of the group members, and ensuring a positive output from your group. Here, we will spell out these qualities in context of the nursing profession. A nurse leader might be change his leadership style according to the age and expertise of nurses working under his supervision. There can be many cases where they would be like to share their hand-earned expertise with the new recruits who are in responsible positions, whereas the younger and less experienced nurses might benefit from close supervision along with the sufficient guidance and feedback. Nursing has veered toward the shared model of management, which also involves nurses in a decision making. In this leadership model, the nurse leader employs a democratic style of leadership, encouraging nurses to actively get involved in medical decision making activities along with monitoring their patient's results. Serving as a mentor is someone person look up to imitate her skills and make it part of his personality. As a mentor, nursing supervisor's job is to serve as a role model for his staff members. Group members will learn the various skills and other ethics in nursing job by watching nursing supervisor. This is why nursing supervisors simply must be the best at what they do. By doing the best, there will be implied that only the best is expected from her staff. Supporting the staff members, one of the most important qualities of nursing leadership is supporting team member under different circumstances they are faced with. There can be several issues in critical field like nursing. Resolving these issues is a job of nurse in a leader's position. If the members of the team wish to help develop new skills or apply their theoretical knowledge in a practical environment, it is important that they provide supportive environment for them to try out these skills. Feedback and performance evaluation. Supervisor job is not just to teach the rules of profession and to the team members. Their job is also to provide evaluation of their progress and new skill set. Present criticism in a manner that not perceived as harsh but a genuine effort on your part to encourage the growth of the right direction. Motivation and encouragement. Keeping the staff motivated to perform well is another leadership skill that you must possess. This includes dealing without burnout, absenteeism, and reducing stress among them. Nursing as a profession is very demanding, and therefore your staff members are likely to encounter above mentioned experiences and more often than not. Finally, our goal is to ensure betterment of the organizations you work for by improving the quality of patient care, which you can do with the application of various creative leadership qualities and management strategies and different leadership styles in nursing. As a leader in your field, it's your job to encourage your staff to empathize with their patient, understand their needs, provide the appropriate care for the progress of their health and well-being. It is only when these qualities are imbibed, followed, will it lead to the patient satisfaction, a healthy relationship between patient and the nurse, and therefore a quick recovery time. Thank you.